Coming up on CHGO Cubs, presented by Toyota and Bet365. Shota struggles on the mound. The Cubs struggle at the plate, and Justin Steele's going on the shelf. Hump day, not fun today. CHGO Cubs, therapy next. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? This is the CHGO Cubs podcast driven by Toyota. Let's go places and Bet365, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary. Use the code CHGO365 at signup. Cubs lose to the Rangers 6-2. We are here on the new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. Hello to everybody that's finding us here for the first time. Make sure you subscribe so you can get involved in that fun little YouTube chat going on over there. I see our guy Corey Friedman has jumped in, saying solid homestand. Yeah, Cubs go 4-2 on the homestand. We'll talk about the homestand. We'll talk about the series. We're going to talk about Justin Steele's injury. We're going to talk about Shota today. And I think really, Cody, he's kind of the headline of today's game. He wasn't terrible. Shota wasn't terrible, but it was his worst start of the season.
Yeah, and then, the fear that I had in the offseason, the neutral park factors, how much they talked about the weather and the wind blowing in, wind blowing out today to left field, and both homers hit out to left field today. Listen, Shota's going to give up homers, and when he gives up the first homer, it's a solo shot, so, whatever. He gave up a solo shot to Martin Maldonado in his first start, which is like
that was so random.
Like what? But Jonah Heim hit the second one. Who hit the first one? Corey Seager, who's one of the best shortstops in baseball. So two really good hitters, and I'm not worried about Shota, but the home run ball against him is about the only thing you can ever look at and say, like, this is a thing. So I'll just end with saying that I'm looking forward to the bounce back start, because I still have confidence in this guy. And he had given up 1-2 runs maybe.
Yeah. He had allowed, I got his stats here. He was 18 and a third innings, and he had allowed 2 runs, just 1 home run.
Yeah. So it's not like he had been shaky or anything. He hadn't been shaking or anything going into this start. Maybe things go a little bit better if the wind's blowing in like it was the last couple nights. But I tweeted something yesterday during yesterday's game. The Rangers, against right-handed pitching, they rank near the bottom in almost every offensive category. I don't know what they rank against lefties, but they'd rather see a left-handed pitcher on the mound than a righty, based off the numbers. Going into yesterday, they had a 59 WRC plus against righties. So based off the fact that they're 8-2 coming into the series, they were clearly hitting better off lefties than they were righties. So I think not only do you give credit to their lineup and, good players like Corey Seager, but it's just one of those that I think you just throw into Lake Michigan. I'm putting this one into throw it in Lake Michigan.
Throw it into Lake Michigan.
Throw this game into Lake Michigan folder. Yeah, I'll tweet that after the show.
If you would have told me that Shota versus Mahle was going to be the one game the Cubs lost in the series, I would have said you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But right at the very beginning, the first couple batters of the game, you were like, maybe he doesn't have his command right now. The home run was left over the plate.
Couple of
hard hit balls to the wall.
Yeah.
We heard that it was, the wind was actually blowing out a little bit at the ballpark today. Now, remember, he'd only given up 7 hits. 7 hits in his previous starts total combined. So the home runs were a surprise. Really, it was the 5th inning that sunk him. And he had rebounded from that rocky first inning. So that's why I say, yes, it was his worst start, but that's relatively speaking because he'd been spectacular.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really that bad of a start. It was just a meh start is the way you look at it at the end.
It would have been nice if the offense picked him up like Wrigley Man 1 says in the chat. Because the offense had been playing so well going into this game. Honestly, whenever it was 5-1, 6-1, I was like, I don't think it's over. The wind's blowing out and this offense has been on fire, but man, Maile had a heck of a start today. He just owned us. And I know that's not the only good start he's had against the Cubs in his career.
No, Vanilla Chill says Maile is a Cubs killer.
He is. He really is.
Is he Eugenio Suarez?
For pitchers?
Is he the Eugenio Suarez of pitchers? Because if he is, he's really killed him.
Yeah. So, no, it's I still, the good news, you want more good news, folks? The good news is we didn't lead the game and then blow it and have to sit here and be miserable.
Nah, we kind of I felt like this was not going to be their day.
Right. Like, this is one of those, like, okay, I got an off day tomorrow. That sucks. It sucks that you lose going into an off day, no doubt. And you got the Dodgers this weekend, and then you go to San Diego after that. So this road trip is not going to be easy. Would have liked to sweep the series for that reason, sure. But they've won 3 consecutive series. They have, going into today, they had the best record in baseball.
Well, the only series they've lost is the Dodgers in Japan.
Yeah. So
those don't count.
Right. In my mind, they should
in
not
our head,
count.
they don't
That's
count,
correct.
right? So, we'll see how they do on Friday, but I think there were a few things to take away from this game from a reliever standpoint, but other than that, I will not remember this game. This will for sure be one of those that I'm like, I will have forgotten.
It's not one that really hurts, right?
Yeah.
What did they end up with? 4 hits? Yeah, I mean,
and one of them came. Or
yes,
two of them
Shota
came
wasn't spectacular. The offense went silent after a bunch of hits in the first 2 games. So in this game, it was really this was the classic fake rally at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But in reality, the 4th inning was their only real threat. It was the Seiya triple and the Bush single, and that
they
was
tied
pretty
it.
much it.
It was a 1-0 game at the time. Seiya triple, then Bush. I thought Bush's at bat leading to that double was a sign of growth because he laid off a splitter. He laid off a splitter on a 2-2 count, got it to 3-2, and then he ripped the double right after. So he struggles against splitters, and that was one reason why I didn't feel good about this matchup. If you look at a lot of the Cubs hitters against splitters last year, off last year's numbers at least, not great. So, yeah, I think that, it's one at bat for Michael Bush, but he's had this series. He had a couple good games, and maybe it's a sign. Maybe he gets hot. Maybe he has a couple revenge games here against the Dodgers this weekend.
I see Jim Cook, CHGO diehard and resident sicko out there, said that he's very upset that the Cubs lost, and he's also looking for some good news. So we'll get to some of that good news later on in the show because we know that hump day is difficult on everybody, especially when it's like this.
Yeah, in this weather.
I'll be surprised. What did I say at the beginning of the series? I was taking bets on how many games they were going to play this series. The fact that they got all 3 in with the weather we've had over the last 3 days is surprising.
I was looking at my weather app last night, and it said that we had like a 50% chance of rain at 2:30. And it's just like, okay, well, maybe they start the game.
We had multiple. I mean, 2 of the 3 days I saw snowflakes in the sky.
Yeah.
Ice, snowflakes, rain. Let's see who's here in the live
I like
YouTube
Ivy's.
chat. Barb's found it.
I like Ivy's comment. I guess we just have to tip our hats and call Maile our daddy. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but
He kind of owns us, man. He kind of owns us. He had good starts with the Reds against the Cubs.
Barb says that
ago.
stupid couple was eating the same hot dog behind the plate. They suggested that they didn't even know each other. If you were watching the game,
Mark,
go check
Boog,
it out.
Boog
there was a couple or a non-couple sitting next to each other, and they were biting from opposite sides of a hot dog at Wrigley Field. Then they each got their own hot dog.
Yeah. Lady and
the Tramp is what he
style
said.
For those old
where they're eating the spaghetti
there
together.
Yeah. So that's how boring this game was. Is that became a thing.
Ravi wasn't watching. He said he's been at the office. Well, see, but now we can tell you everything that happened, and you don't have to sit through it. Like, I don't know, what was it, 2.5, 3 hours again?
Game was at 1:20. We're sitting here at 4:02, and we started 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
So
not
2.5
bad.
hours.
A little bit faster.
Yeah.
A little bit faster. That's positive. I'll take the 2 out of 3.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. We'll take 2 out of 3, and
I'll take not mentioning Corey Seager until the last day.
Yeah. This Rangers team's good, and they were coming in winners of 5 straight. So the fact that the Padres came into the homestand undefeated, 7-0, you win that series. Probably should have swept, whatever. And then the Rangers come in town. They had won 5 straight, and they were 8-2, and you still take that series. I think that instills confidence in a ball club, man. So we'll see how things go when you go to LA. Obviously, the Dodgers, they just lost the series to the Nationals, I'm pretty sure.
They've lost back-to-back series.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, kind of off
even
to a
if
slow
they
start.
go ahead and finish winning the game that they're playing now, they will have lost back-to-back series.
Who knows? Maybe the Cubs are getting them at the right time. I know they've had some early season injuries. I think Freeman still isn't playing. But is
Mookie Betts back yet?
Yeah, Mookie Betts.
He is finally back.
Yeah, he's back,
but he's like $150 now. The wind came and it actually blew him across the infield the other day.
Yeah,
he was like tumbleweed.
Yeah,
no,
but either way, obviously, like they have a lot of depth and really like actually proving great depth. So obviously, can't take them lightly. And yeah, it's just we'll see what happens. But I think Corey sent a great tweet after the game, basically saying
Corey Friedman.
Yes, basically saying that all things considered, the Cubs have put them in position to where they can allow themselves to. I'm not saying that they should, but they have put themselves in a position to, if you lose a series or something, you're still in a good spot. You know what I mean? It's not like they have to go out west and play perfect baseball. Now, would I love to see it? Absolutely. Will I demand it because I'm a fan? Yes. But you're 10-6, and you're going out west to play 2 really good teams. I think if you come back with a 3-3 record or a 3-3 road trip, I'd take that.
Yeah, I mean, the greedy fan would say,
win all 6.
Well, they should have won 3. It would have been nice to win 3 out of 4 against the Diamondbacks. It would have been nice to sweep the Padres. It would have been nice to sweep the Rangers. The Rangers come in 8-2, and you get the first 2 games, and you have Shota on the mound. You feel pretty good about it going in.
Mm-hmm.
But this wasn't I agree with you that I have so far circled in red 2 losses on the season. I don't circle this one. This one's just a lost baseball game. That's the way baseball games go. Mm-hmm. Now, the day itself wasn't great, and we're going to talk about that coming up in a couple minutes. The Justin Steele news before the game is probably the biggest story of the day.
Yeah.
It's not that the Cubs couldn't sweep the Rangers. 2 out of 3 against the Rangers is nice. The Justin Steele stuff, that's going to hurt, and hopefully it doesn't really, really hurt moving forward. But this game in general is just kind of Shota throws like 3 pitches, and I don't feel great about it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's not on the mound for more than 2 minutes, and I don't have a great feel for how the day is going to go.
Right.
So I'd hope that the offense was going to do a little bit better compared to the other 2 games of the series. It was like watching 2 different teams.
Yeah. No, yeah. That today felt like the Cubs were a complete different team.
22 hits, 17 runs, 4 hits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And a fake run at the end, a fake short rally at the end of it. So we'll talk about Justin Steele coming up in a second here. But first, we want to tell you about our great sponsors. Hey, when you're in the chat right now, just curious to everybody in the live YouTube chat, CHGO Cubs here, how many games will the Cubs win on the upcoming road trip? Dodgers and Padres. Out of 6 games, what do you think? But first, Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. Amazing features that make this brand and product awesome. Well, let me just tell you about some of them. It's one-stop shopping for your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has an expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from. Sunnyside in Illinois is your favorite dispensary because they have locations in the city. They have Wrigleyville, River North, all the way to the suburbs, Champaign, South Beloit, and more. If you're starting out, Sunnyside has expert guidance and brands they know you'll love, like Good News and Mindy's. If you're a pro, like Corey Friedman, they've got you covered there too, with 100 strains on the menu and new ones added daily. We know you'll love Cresco and FloraCal's incredible quality and consistent products. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter the promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 and older or Illinois medical card holders.
Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. Sign up, use code CHGO365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. If you had just full faded me today and parlayed it, you would have won so much money just with your bonus bets. You missed the opportunity if you didn't do it, all right? But if you don't want to fade me or tail me, you can get in on the MLB early payout offers as well. With the Bet365 early payout offer, you're a winner if your team goes 5 runs ahead with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Today's game is a perfect example, if you had bet the Rangers at least. Download the app and use code CHGO365 when you sign up. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. And you can use these bonus bets on player props, futures, and more. All right, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling referral services can be assessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER.
So Barb, by the way, says maybe Cody and Corey can fly to Los Angeles together and meet some guy named Brandon.
She also had a really funny comment while you were reading the ad. Can we scroll up?
What did Barb say?
She said something. Yeah, this one. Yes, she says, "I hope Sarah is feeling better. She had a cold. Stucky is spraying down the studio with alcohol."
Lysol. That made me laugh too.
Lysol.
Barb, I am feeling better. Thank you. And that is pure H2O in there. I promise.
He's just spraying.
It's just rubbing alcohol. Just spraying it everywhere.
Spraying rubbing alcohol or
rubbing alcohol and vinegar kills everything.
A clear version of Sam Adams Light.
It's my homemade potion. Put a little bleach in it too.
We got a lot of 3 and 3s. I see that. Corey said he'd be willing to take 2 and 4. Yeah. You got Ray.
What a
Boyd,
loser's mentality
Brown
that is,
against
Corey.
The Dodgers.
What a loser's mentality that is.
Well, no.
I'm curious what Corey thought of the couple eating the hot dog at the game, or non-couple eating the hot dog. Has Corey ever shared the other end of his hot dog with someone sitting next to him at Wrigley Field?
Well, I know his lady pretty well.
Pictures.
I know his lady pretty well. I don't think she'd do that with him. So I'd say no.
No.
But
he's got a messy hot dog.
My reply to him saying 2 and 4, I said this before we started. On losses, I should get the reality spray, and when Luke gets too pessimistic, we spray him. That's what I say that should happen. Listen, I feel like spraying Corey a little bit right now.
I went to Home Depot and purchased this with my own money. Nobody's taking my plastic bottle.
Man of the company.
Back off.
I think the chat should get to decide if that is a thing. That's all I'm saying.
Go buy your own plastic bottle. I actually did think about buying one of those super soakers. I've seen some now that have glow in the dark. The water glows in the dark when the water comes out. So you can have water fights in the dark if you want. Anyways.
Corey says that I'd like Marquis to focus on the baseball game personally, and I don't share my hot dogs. There's no way he shares those hot dogs. They look too good whenever he takes a picture of them.
It was slow, and it's a lot easier to pick out fans like that when there's only like 15 grand of them in the stands.
Yeah.
26,000, whatever it might have been today.
Wrigley Man says 6-0. Let's be confident. All right. Now, he might need a little spray action, but
yeah.
If they go 6-0, I'm going to be so high on life, man. 6-0 on the road trip, man.
4-2, all right.
4-2 would be great. I do think a realistic or fair expectation is 3-3 or 3-3, something like that.
We'll get to the schedule ahead in a little bit on the show. The biggest story of the day is Justin Steele's been added to the 15-day injured list with left elbow tendonitis. It came on in his last start, which was his best start of the season. 7 shutout innings to start this series. It was a really, really good start by Justin Steele. Sure, the cold weather helped a little bit, but he also admitted that it may have had a direct impact on this elbow injury or elbow pain or inflammation or tightness or whatever you want to call it. It was cold out there. The velocity was down a little bit. Let's listen to Counsell and Steele before the game today. This is from Marquee's Twitter page. Marquee put this on their Twitter page. This is Counsell and Steele talking about Steele now heading to the 15-day injured list with elbow tendonitis.
Going to take the conservative route here. He had symptoms of an injury that he experienced last year, and for that reason, rather than having him focus on his next start, I think it's just best that we just back off that and make sure he recovers in a really good place, and we're hoping it's the minimum and he can be ready to go in a couple weeks. Justin's health is, and looking out for that is what affects the decision. The schedule's the schedule. We'll see how that plays out as we go forward here.
I was going through my start the other day. I was talking to Tommy and Counts throughout the start and stuff. I was like, arm's starting to tighten up on me a little bit. I was at the 4th, 5th inning. Was just doing stuff in between innings to keep it warm, moving around and stuff. Told him the next day, the trainers and stuff, I want to come in and do a lot of recovery stuff, red light, do everything I can to get the recovery process underway. They asked how it was doing. I was like, it's, kind of sore, kind of tight. And then, they just made the decision to go ahead and put me on the IL.
So interesting that it came up and then he pitched through it the rest of the way to go the 7 shutout innings. Now, he had elbow tendonitis last September, and he missed 2 starts. You hope that's exactly what we're going to see here, although he did say he expects to go for an MRI just to get imaging to check it out and make sure this is all that's going on there. Remember, Justin Steele is a guy who's had Tommy John surgery on that throwing elbow. I just saw, as I was walking over, that he just tweeted a day ago about his 500 innings and how blessed he was for 500, and he still is. But that he never expected that would be the case in his career. Here he is. He's, 1A or 1B in the starting rotation for the Cubs, one of the better starting pitchers in all of baseball.
Right.
Has he had some slight injury issues? Yeah, there hasn't been anything. I mean, the Tommy John thing was before he got up to the majors.
In the minors.
So has he had some injuries, though, the last couple of years that have slowed down? Yes. I don't know that any of them have been super concerning, although I said anytime I hear elbow, it doesn't matter if it's tendonitis, tightness, soreness.
Mm-hmm.
All of that makes me uncomfortable because we just saw the White Sox have 6 pitchers have to get Tommy John surgery. So knock on wood, this is just what it is. It's just that tendonitis thing again. It was the cold weather. He thought it was related to that. I'm hoping it's just the same thing that he had last year.
Yeah, it's concerning to me only because it's every year now that we're dealing with injury. Now, if we would go back in time and go through all of them, right? September of last year was it more of the
hamstring?
forearm? No,
I thought the hamstring in the game 1 was the hamstring injury.
Yeah,
right?
but I'm starting from like the very end of last year, like what in September? Remember how you
September
went on?
was supposed to be tendonitis.
Yeah. So if it and it so
and
similar
I was in
to this,
I was in a panic.
Yeah, you were.
I called Plezak and I said, "Have you ever heard a pitcher say tendonitis and getting an MRI and it ever turned out well?" And he was like, "No, not really, not too often."
Anyway.
Thank goodness that was not the case.
Anyway, that happened late last year. We argued that maybe they should have shut him down the rest of the year.
Right.
So that happened. Before that was the hamstring thing, so it has nothing to do with his arm, and it was a freak accident on opening day of last year. Then in 23, I remember him going on the injured list for a forearm thing.
Yeah.
Right? I think it was in the middle of the summer.
Which it also scared me.
Right. And then in 2022, I don't believe he pitched in September that entire year. Now, the team was out of it. He had emerged. He had been like from the end of June or July. He had been the Cubs' best pitcher, whatever, something going on with his arm in September of a lost season that was, they won 73 games that year. So they shut him down in September, whatever. I don't know if they would have if they were in the race or not, but that's what they did. So you have 22, 23, 24, and now 2025, he has had an injury of some sorts. And all four of them there has been a arm injury related. So that's the only thing that bothers me. Do I think that this is more a precautionary thing because of the state of baseball and the state of pitchers in baseball right now that are ending up on the injured list? Yes. And to be honest with you, I'd rather them be precautionary about it than them do the opposite and treat it like they treated Dansby Swanson last year or Nico Horner.
Yes.
So
me too.
I think from team-wise, I think it's the good decision. From individual player-wise, I'm concerned because, okay, what if he comes back in 15 days and then this flares up again? Will this come back down the road? Like, that's just my, from a fan perspective, like, those are the things that are kind of scaring me about it because this has just been a annual thing now. And we know that this is true, that he is, if not the best pitcher on the staff, the second best pitcher on the staff, and they're just going to need him to pitch innings. They need at least 150 innings out of this guy this year if they're going to make the playoffs. And so I have some concerns. I hope that it's not serious. I hope he comes back and he shoves 7 innings down whoever's throat in his first start back. But we cannot sit here and ignore the trend of the last 4 years.
No, and you can't ignore the trend of he had given up 5 home runs in his first 3 appearances this season when he's averaged 11.5 a season.
Mm-hmm.
Not even 12 a season he's averaged in his career. So the 5 in the first game, you were like, or first 3 appearances, that was a little bit alarming. Now the velo down, but the velo was down and it was extra cold, but that's something still that would be noted. And then he's telling you in the dugout, well, it's starting to tighten up a little bit. I'm feeling a little bit. Without the great 7 shutout innings, I'd be in a complete panic. I'm a bit of a worrier anyways. I worry every time
you do.
Elbows mentioned, I'm worried. I was worried when I thought Kyle Tucker was going to dive into the wall last night. Early in the season. You don't want to lose Kyle Tucker. You don't want to lose Justin Steele. So I'm a little bit of a worrier, but the 7 shutout innings make me feel good and make me pretty confident that MRI is just going to show the old tennis elbow.
Yeah.
That's what normal people like you and I, when you go to the doctor, they don't say you have elbow tendonitis. They say you have tennis elbow or you have golf elbow, even if you're not playing either sport.
Yeah. So we'll see.
And I don't know who the person's going to be. Council would not commit to who is going to make that start on Monday or whenever it is coming up in that spot. Could Colin Ray make that start? Yeah, Colin Ray could make that start. Could it be Cade Horton maybe? I don't know. Could it be Jordan Wicks?
Yeah.
Jordan Wicks, I thought I read online, has sort of just would line up almost perfectly to make that start. But we've also heard that Javier Assad is close and is probably heading out to do it's probably a little too soon for Assad to make that start, would be my guess.
I'll tell you what I want to happen, and then I'll tell you what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
I think what's going to happen is Colin Ray is going to make a start on Saturday. Because
against the Dodgers,
because they called up Ethan Roberts, and
he's not going to make the start.
And he's not. He pitched the 9th inning today. He's going to be, he's got to get into that circle of trust. He's not close to it. However, clean inning in the 9th. He looking better than Nate Pearson right now. So that I think they're going to pitch Colin Ray on Saturday. What I want them to do is call up Jordan Wicks and let him pitch against the Dodgers.
That's what I'd like to see too.
I would like to see that, but who will they demote to do now? They called up Roberts to take Steele's spot. If they call up Wicks, they're going to have to send another pitcher down. Are they going to send Roberts back to Iowa? I don't think so. That'd be very weird for them. Why not just call up Jordan Wicks and now instead? I don't know. They try to we know this. They always try to maneuver it in a way that they're thinking ahead of time. So
he might not miss as many starts because you have some off days scheduled in early in the season too.
Yeah. Well, the off day is big for them tomorrow, right? So I don't know when Jordan Wicks pitched last. I'd have to go look at a box score, but I personally would like to see Jordan Wicks on Saturday. I think that's when he would line up to pitch, based off when Steele last starts. So, and Colin Ray pitched in that game too. So that's why I think Colin Ray will have a full 5 days to pitch on Saturday. So that's why I think it's going to be him and what the Cubs are going to do.
And sometimes you say, it could be a piggyback game, but you're playing the Dodgers. Yeah. So you could have a lot of guys being used anyway. Yeah. Right? Like you could be running through some pitchers.
I just remember I remember the start Jordan Wicks had against the Dodgers last year at home before the injuries happened, and he looked pretty good for that lineup or for going up against that lineup and being as young as he was and all that. So I am intrigued to see him kind of bounce back this year with the injuries that he had last year. So that's I think there's higher upside going with Wicks, and I like Ray as kind of like the spot start, mop up / eat innings guy out of the bullpen if your starter is not available to go further into the game or whatever. But you're also paying Colin Ray $5 million, so it's like you could easily start him on Saturday too.
Let us know what you think in the live YouTube chat. Who do you want to see make that start for Justin Steele first time through the order? As we go to break and mention some of our great sponsors again, just like your favorite team needs a home court advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage. Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts dedicated to flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. You can go to that big box store, but you might be talking to somebody who was working in plumbing yesterday, selling sod the day before that. Empire Today lives and breathes flooring. Their flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home, get precise measurements taken, and have all your questions answered so there are no surprises. With Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. Nobody likes to wait. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners, pay attention. You can receive a $350 discount when you use the promo code CHGO, the magic letters. Yes, you heard it right. A $350 discount with the code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit Empire Today /CHGO for full details. Shop savings to celebrate during the Jeep Celebration event at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. Now's your chance to score a great deal on your next vehicle. Head to Ray CDJR on Route 12 today to choose from their huge inventory of new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. And right now, get up to $12,000 off MSRP on select new 2024 Jeep Wrangler models with a dealer discount, or lease the new 2025 Jeep Wrangler Sport 4xe for only $129 a month. You can also shop over 125 vehicles they have priced under $20,000. They have a brand of experts there, a team at Ray CDJR, ready to take you through each step of your car shopping journey. And with Ray's Price Promise, you can shop confidently. There's going to be no add-ons, no hidden fees ever. The price you see is the price you pay. So go check out our partner today. Shop one of the Chicago area's largest inventories. Find the right new vehicle for you, then drive home happy. Don't miss out on the Jeep Celebration event going on all month long for huge savings on your next Jeep Wrangler. For more information, visit Ray CDJR today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online, raycdjr.com. They've been serving the community since 1963.
The chat.
What are they going for?
In no surprise fashion.
Somebody said Trevor Bauer is always.
Well, there's always that one guy, but most of the chat is calling for Cade Horton. Listen, it would be unlike the Cubs, in my opinion, of this era of Cubs baseball. It would be very unlike the Cubs, in my opinion, if they called up Cade Horton, who I don't know how many appearances he's made in Iowa yet, but I do know that in one of them he was touching 97 miles per hour on that fastball. So it looks healthy, but is he ready to step in and start? I don't know. I'd rather go. I think he is the higher upside play compared to everyone else available, but I'm not sure. I think he's ready, and I don't think the Cubs think he's ready yet either. Now, he should have been ready last year if he didn't get hurt. He got hurt though. Yeah. I think he needs to get some innings underneath his belt, coming back from injury first, before I'm comfortable. But if I wake up tomorrow or on Friday and they're telling me that they're calling up Cade Horton to start on Saturday,
and Dave LaCroix in the chat is saying he's supposed to start in an hour. So if he doesn't make that start, that'll raise some eyebrows. If he does make that start, that pretty much eliminates him out of the Saturday conversation. So we'll find out.
Yeah. It's not that I don't want to see it. Of course, he's your top pitching prospect. I'd like to see it, but I don't know if he's ready.
I'd like him to get here and stay here. That's what I would love to see. But I've also not ruled out the idea of him having his first year in the majors be kind of a bullpen guy.
As a bullpen guy, yeah.
Because we've seen some bullpen issues. This homestand, 4-2, probably could have been 6-0. Easily could have been 5-1. They win Sunday's game. Could have been a 5-1 homestand, but 4-2 is really good against two good teams.
Yeah.
So I will take 4-2. The strange part was to go from the 22 hits and 17 runs and have that with only one home run for the Cubs in this series. Not the homestand, but this series, they had 22 hits, 17 runs in the first two games, and in all three games, what did they have? One home run, Dansby.
They had to have hit more than one home run.
No, I believe they hit one home run.
Kyle Tucker hit a home run.
Not in this series.
Yeah, he did.
I don't think so.
I was thinking
not
homestand.
The homestand. In this series, 3 games against the Rangers, they hit one home run.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking homestand. Sorry.
Which is why, I did a short. If you go to check out the shorts on our CHGO Cubs YouTube page, I'm explaining how they won these games with only one home run in the series. How did they do it? By doing all the other things.
Base running.
Not today necessarily, because there were no stolen base. Did anybody steal base today? None. I think so. But I think they had 9 stolen bases in the previous 2 games. So they did a lot of things in this series that I really, really like, especially in cold weather games at Wrigley Field.
Yeah. I'm not like anyone worried about the fact they only hit one home run. I think you got to remember too the weather conditions that we just witnessed this entire homestand. I mean, it was even chilly over the weekend against the Padres. So go back to, let's just say 2018, 2019 Cubs. 2018 Cubs won 95 games. Probably should have won more. Probably could have won more if Yu Darvish stays healthy and Chris Bryant's healthy and, whatever. Not trying to bring up old scars, but they won 95 games. So they lost a wild card game to the Rockies. It was a brutal ending to the season. But a lot of that team was so boom or bust. Like if they didn't hit home runs that day, they weren't going to win, right? And 2019 was a lot of the same. Imagine if they had a little bit of what they're doing so far this season with some of those teams. They're probably a lot better teams. Now, in 2016 and 2017, I do think they had a little bit of both. And so my point that I'm getting at here is, do I think the home runs will come? Well, if Dansby Swanson keeps swinging the bat like he has been, and Kyle Tucker is Kyle Tucker. I think if we're at the end of April and the Cubs are above 500, considering the schedule that they're playing, they'll probably have they'll probably be leading baseball in stolen bases and walks like they are. Like they'll still be leading. And then home runs, who knows? They've had some early home run home runs hit by guys that I didn't expect. I did not expect Carson Kelly to have as many home runs as he does already. He has 2 homers already. I believe it's 2, right? And then Tucker is like right up there with Judge right now with the leading home runs in baseball, right? And Swanson has 3 or 4, right? So I think you need, if they're going to keep this up or if they're going to supply more power, like Ian Happ's he's going to hit that hot streak at some point, and then PCA and Shaw, and they're toolsy dudes.
PCA, Shaw, Maya.
Yeah.
Where are you going to get some home runs from?
Amaya's been hitting, but has he hit one over the fence yet? I don't think so. But he's been hitting.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's, I'm not necessarily saying him, but I'm thinking about PCA. I'm thinking about Shaw in terms, I'm not saying about home runs, but I am saying offensive production, because at some point Swanson's going to come down to earth a little bit. And, I'm just going to assume Tucker is going to be Tucker all season. But some of these other guys, like I would like to see some of these other dudes step up. Seiya had a great series in this series, right?
Turner hasn't hit a home run yet.
Right. Yeah. I do think that they'll need more home run power from other guys who haven't necessarily got it going yet. And on Marquee yesterday, I think Ryan Dempster was talking about PCA and how he thinks that hot stretch is coming up. And we've talked about the bat speed being up and all these things with him. He had a good game yesterday, not so much today. Young player, as we know, still gives you great defense, speed, all that stuff. But he needs to hit a little bit more to really show off the kind of value that he can give you. And he's kind of going through right now, so it'll be interesting to see how he performs against this Dodgers team and that pitching staff. But I think that those two guys need to provide a little bit more offensively, and a few other guys like Happ need to slug a little bit more too. If we're going to hit the over on 200 homers that I boldly predicted before the season, But I think so far for the entire season, the home run power for this team has been like eye-opening, like a little eye-opening in a surprising fashion.
If you're talking about this series against the Rangers, the 3 games against the Rangers, first of all, they came in 8-2. So to take 2 out of 3 is a positive thing. You only got one really, really good start from your starting pitcher. It was Steele in the first game. Tyone was okay, right?
It was fine, yeah.
And
quality start.
And Shota was fine, but they weren't like, it wasn't like starting pitching was the storyline of the series for the Cubs. Home runs weren't the storyline of the series for the Cubs. That's why it's exciting, because they did everything else well. They walked, they ran the bases, they played good defense, they did situational hitting. That's how you beat a Rangers team that was 8-2, 2 out of 3 times, even when you don't get probably the 2 most important things in baseball necessarily just going your way in a dominant fashion. You didn't have spectacular starting pitching in 2 out of the 3 games, and you hit 1 home run in the series. But you walk away with 2 out of 3 wins against the Rangers. That's, to me, that's the sign of a good team, because the other things you hope will come. If they don't come, then you got yourselves a bad team.
Yeah.
Or a mediocre team that's just overperforming. And that's not what I think is happening here.
Yeah.
I think you have a good team that's doing all the small things when you have some lulls and thing, or you have a series where the weather is outrageously bad. They can still win the game in other ways. And that, to me, is a sign of a good team. And so I actually think this series has a lot of bright spots in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spray me with the water, but
Well, you're being too positive.
I'm being too positive.
On a losing post-game
You know how many times I hear that, Stucky? You're being too positive.
No one says
Captain Positive over here. Stuckmeyer, Captain Positive. There he goes again. Captain Positive.
Well, you know, I thought you were going to be a little pessimistic today.
No, I feel pretty good about winning 2 out of 3. I would have liked to seen a sweep when you had Shota on the mound after the first 2 games.
Yeah.
But it wasn't his start. The offense didn't have it today, and now they'll go out west, and they have, like you said, it's yet another challenge, and we'll talk about that in a second. But first, Cody's going to tell us about our great sponsor, Game Time.
Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch, kickoff, tip-off, or any other event you're going to out there, right? With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and your lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Cubs going to LA. Our good pal, Brendan Miller, lives in San Diego. He could
get it done.
He could hop on a Game Time on Friday and stroll on over to Dodger Stadium.
Be a content machine for us.
And be a content machine. And all he has to do is get on to Game Time and get a ticket right before first pitch. And I guarantee you it's not going to be cheap because it's the Dodgers, but you'll get the best value. You'll get the best value out of any other resale site out there. I promise you, all right? I always tell you as well, I get on the red line at Argyle, ride to Addison, and then open up Game Time right when I get to Wrigleyville and get my ticket right before first pitch. That's when you get the best value, right? So some of the great features about Game Time is that they have zone deals. So when you save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. They have all-in pricing. When you toggle that feature, it shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. No one hates a bait and switch like me and Luke Stuckmeyer, all right? Seat views. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, and then they have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage as well, which covers your purchase with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem with code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Yeah, a lot of people this time of year, because it's cold and seats are available, great time to use Game Time. You can just say, give me the Jack White section. Give me the John Cusack section. And then the next thing you know, you're sharing a hot dog with someone you don't even know.
Yeah.
You know? I still can't believe they
Jack
didn't know
White.
each other. Our friends at Shady Rays are helping you get in the right frame of mind with their premium polarized shades that will not break the bank. Cody got a pair today.
I did.
Shady Rays, an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by more than 300,000 people. Their sunglasses have durable frames, crystal clear optics, making it the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. With so many colors available, you can definitely find some in your favorite team's colors. Hint, hint. If your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They've got the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. If you don't love their shades, exchange for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast support. Here you go. Here's the deal. CHGO viewers and listeners, go to shadyrays.com and save 35% off your polarized sunglasses with the code, the 4 magic letters, CHGO. Over 300,000 people rate those Shady Rays 5 stars. Use that code CHGO today at shadyrays.com.
Corey says in the chat that we shouldn't encourage Brendan to go because they lose when he goes. So,
despite how great a deal Game Time would give him.
Yeah.
They would. Maybe he could do the deal and just not go. Make it look like a poor crowd in LA.
It won't be.
Buy the tickets, empty seats.
Godfather, I think it's been a few. I don't think I've seen Godfather in the comments.
He's been in the Blackhawks chat for the last couple months now.
Oh no, wait a minute.
He's definitely been here. I just don't think I've seen him in the last couple days.
He's been in almost every postgame for Hawks though, which is I think he just switched teams for a bit.
Well, anyway, he says not the kind of outing you want from your ace, especially when you have a chance to sweep. I think that's fair to say too. You said that Shota was fine or meh or whatever. I mean,
he was below fine.
He was below what we're expecting.
He was more meh.
Again,
5 runs, 2 homers.
I don't like to say that that I was right about this, but he gives up a lot of homers, and the wind was blowing out today.
Yeah, the first I think it was the first 3 batters all hit fly balls where you were like, hold your breath.
Yeah,
hold your breath.
And we were lucky that it only one went out, and then Heim hit one later after the Cubs had tied it up. So the thing is Shota has been awesome for you all season to this point, and I expect him to have a nice bounce back start. Today is Wednesday, so he'll pitch Sunday. I think it'll be Sunday or Monday. So he's gonna get a good Dodgers team or a good Padres team, and he pitched well against the Padres last time he faced them, and you pitch well against the Dodgers in Japan. So he has pitched well enough over his course as a Chicago Cub to give me confidence that he will be better in the next start.
He'll probably be against the Padres. Friday's game is Matthew Boyd against Rōki Sasaki.
I'm actually looking forward to
Boyd.
that.
Boyd was actually really good against the Padres, so I'm glad he's not going back-to-back series starts against the Padres. I don't want them getting another look at him that quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he's actually pitching to start against the Dodgers. Rōki, by the way, walks have been his problem, just like they were in that. Remember that first game against that he pitched against the Cubs? That was game 2 of the season.
Game 2 in Japan.
Yeah, he's gone 5 walks, 4 walks, 2 walks in his 3 appearances. He's got 11 walks and 9 strikeouts in 8 2/3 innings. So the recipe for this game on Friday is Matthew Boyd pitches like he did against the Padres.
Or just
Shoves.
in general. He's
pitched well in general.
Pitched well against the Diamondbacks, too.
And you stand at the plate patiently like you just have done so many times this season with Rōki, and you force him to find the plate until you're ready to hit one.
Yeah.
Don't give him any benefit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rōki's been kind of the discourse about him from some of the national heads, or not national heads, but like just other baseball players.
His stuff is wicked. It's wicked, but he's got to control it.
Yeah. Well, no, what I'm getting at here, have you seen some of the stuff out there from other players about his in-dugout
No.
stuff?
Tell me.
So there was one game
Spill the tea.
There was one game he was in the dugout, I think after he was either a start or an appearance, whatever it was, and it looked like he was emotional, and there were a few players, like former players, who were like criticizing him for that. And
He's young.
I don't know, man. The dude's 22 years old. He's whatever. I just found that interesting that like former players are like calling him out for, in a way, they're basically just calling him like a child, basically. And these aren't
22. I could, or 22 or 23. I could not have handled what he's handling.
Sure, yeah. So I think he's been dealing with that, like the discourse with that. Probably, I'm sure he knows about that, and then just he's been struggling throwing strikes. So. And if you do remember the game in Japan, the Cubs actually had great at-bats against him, but they just couldn't get the big hit.
Right.
So the good news is that the team has been getting the big hit over the last, how many games have they played now? 16 games?
16, I think.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Over the last 16 games, they have been getting the big hit a lot of the time. So I think that the Cubs having some experience against Rōki will be a pro for them. But if he does throw strikes, it will be tough because when he needed to make pitches against the Cubs in Japan, he did. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I do feel good about Matt Boyd. But the Dodgers, you just look at the Dodgers lineup and you're just like, it doesn't matter who pitches. I'm scared.
Do you think it will go better than the 2 games in Japan?
I weirdly do. I do. This is how if I were to predict, when we were throwing out records.
Cubs are 9-6, according to what I just looked up.
9-6? Okay. Whatever. 15 games.
15 games.
We were asking people to tell us the records. And a lot of people said like 3-3, 2-4. Corey said that. I think if I know this team, like I think I know this team, this is the perfect like Cubs thing that would happen. They'll go win the series against the Dodgers and like kind of blow all our minds, but then they'll lose the series against the Padres. So that's why I think they'll go 3-3, but it will be in the most like annoying fashion. Like to win a series.
They'll win 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers and hand back the sweep by getting swept in San Diego.
I'm not saying they're going to get swept, but they won't win the series.
That would be the Cubs of my life.
Sure. But I think the Cubs of this current era, they would win this series against the Dodgers and then lose 2 of 3 against the Padres early next week. But I don't think they'll get swept in San Diego. They played way too well they played really well, and not even too well, but like they played smart, fundamental baseball against the Padres. They earned those wins. And you can make an argument that they should have swept. The Padres made so many mistakes in that third game, and that's why. But the Cubs also made mistakes in that game, so whatever. But this Padres team, I think the second time around we'll have to face King and Cease. But, yeah, for some reason, I just get this vibe that they're going to go and win 2 or 3 against the Dodgers, but then lose like 2 or 3 against the Padres or something like that. That's what I think is going to happen.
Our chat is awesome. Mike, the Cubs fan, says it won't go better than Japan. We're going to enter a slump. This is the guy who I almost had to spray last night.
Yeah, he was ready to spray.
He was asking to be sprayed because he was so excited about it. Meanwhile, David Snyder is trying to tell us about Patrick Wisdom cranking home runs in the Korean Baseball League with the Kia Tigers. He says, for all those Wisdom haters out there.
In Korea?
Anyways.
I'm happy for Pat Wisdom. He didn't have a spot on this roster, man.
No, and
I'm honestly fine that Justin Turner is in his spot.
So Friday is Rōki versus Boyd. Saturday is Ben Brown. Hopefully he bounces back with a good start. Ben Brown against Tyler Glasnow, who, by the way, has an ERA of 6.43 and gave up 5 runs in 2 innings against the Phillies. So the Dodgers have had their moment of weakness. Did they lose today? I think they've lost.
They're playing right now.
At one stretch, they had lost, coming into today, they had lost 4 or 5. And they're going to lose back-to-back series, including one to the Nationals, no matter what happens today. Yeah. I think they were winning that game. Did they end up winning the game?
It's the 6th.
No, they're losing again, 5-4.
Down 5-4.
So they could get swept by the Nationals.
Yeah, and I didn't get my C.J. Abrams bet in today. He had a homer.
So maybe you're catching the Dodgers
at the right time.
At the right time.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe it won't be like it was the first time around.
I feel like the last couple of years the Cubs have gotten the Dodgers at the right time, like in season at least. You know, last year they played the Dodgers at home in April, and they won 2 out of 3. And didn't they win the series in LA in September last year? I could be wrong on that, but I don't know. It is what it is.
I mean, listen, I don't know what's going to happen in the third game of the series, but like you said, it's the Dodgers and the Padres. That's the interesting part about it. You get these same teams over and over again, and you know, we see the Diamondbacks again. The schedule is a brutal early season, like month plus. And I've always said if they could get through at 500, that would be great. 9-6. Mm-hmm. You got a little wiggle room there. You would have had more wiggle room if you didn't blow at least one of those 2 games the last 2 Sundays. Which, by the way, I don't know if people know this, but Corey and Brendan used to do the Sunday games, and we've now petitioned the bosses to give them back. After 2 bad games, we've now petitioned that Corey and Brendan should do the Sunday show.
Yeah, they can have it back. Yeah,
it's all yours.
I have realized that I tweeted the final score graphic, the wrong one.
No.
So that's my bad for not catching that we didn't have.
That's my bad.
It's both me and Sarah's bad.
Credit to me.
We had 4 eyes on that graphic.
All I can say is credit to me. I had nothing to do with it.
Luke had nothing to do with it.
Man of the people.
I was looking
as a team player. I can say I didn't touch that one. That was all your fault, both of you.
Yeah,
What did we tweet out?
We tweeted out the score, but we said that the Cubs won 6-2 instead of the Rangers won 6-2.
Well, some people are excited going home. It's like that time. Didn't Patrick tweet out that it was the anniversary of the Kerry Wood game? Recently?
Oh yeah.
No, he didn't tweet it out. He put it in a newsletter, and he was like, "I don't know what I was thinking. It's not the anniversary."
Remember how the internet got mad at us because they thought that we asked Jed Hoyer about Alex Bregman at spring training.
Oh yeah,
you remember that?
Yes.
And we didn't. We were just
tweeting.
We were just tweeting like what he was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are crazy. Corey says, "Welcome to our life the last 2 years." Well, it's about to be your life, pal, again.
Yeah.
That's what we like to say. Sundays right back at you. So we have Corey and Brendan's pod tomorrow.
Yep.
Right?
They're going to preview the series a little bit more.
We'll be doing a pod on Sunday for postgame, right?
Series recap. Yep.
Series recap against the Dodgers. Hopefully that's, at least a Sunday win. That's all I can say. If it's another Sunday loss, that's it.
When's our next Friday 120, Cody?
Week after. So
yeah, it's the 18th,
the
right?
18th against Arizona?
So
you have back-to-backs. You have Arizona, and then you have Philly, which is the one where we did the giveaway, 2 tickets, 2 shirts, 2 hugs. So our winner will be going along for that.
I'm told that Greg Braggs will be off the crutches on the 18th. So.
And then the next one isn't until May 16th. And that one, of course, is Crosstown.
And the day before my birthday.
I tried to suggest to Jim Cook that maybe it would just be more competitive if the Iowa Cubs played the Birmingham Barons or something like that. Anyways, Sean's ready for another Friday 120. Make sure you subscribe to the new CHGO Cubs
We're
YouTube
like less
page,
than
please.
30 away to
Where
2,000.
When we get to 2,000,
we're at 28 still.
We're at 28 away.
Yeah, less than 30.
So at
good.
At 28
like
away,
the score graphic.
what we're waiting for, if you go right now to our shop, the merch, we have the 4 new shirts.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got to 500, we showed you the shirt. You get to 2,000, the last shirt will then be available for purchase. So currently the gray shirt is available for purchase. The hot dog shirt is available for purchase. The powder blue CHGO shirt is available for purchase. And we need 28 more subscribers. And then the retro script Cubby Bear Circle Baseball logo thing, which I think that might be my favorite of the 4. That one will become available for purchase. So hopefully sometime tonight, when you get done watching or listening to this, go ahead and tell somebody if you haven't already told them.
Just send the link.
Subscribe.
Send the link to your friends.
Send the link. By the way, somebody asked us on Twitter. They said they couldn't find the link because the YouTube algorithm. I'm gonna tweet out the link again too.
Yeah,
I'll tweet out the link so everybody can find it. Just a direct link to where we are watching the show. So tell somebody. Anything else? We didn't have to do a beer bat chug.
No beer bat chug.
Should we make a shirt of 2 people eating from opposite sides of a hot dog that might sell?
With Seiya Suzuki just in the background.
Say in the background, and there's 2 people with a hot dog stuck between their faces, and then put Stranger 1, Stranger 2.
Yeah, that or honestly, what I would like
connected to the show Stranger Things. We just say Stranger Things at Wrigley. It's people sharing a hot dog from each end.
We could do that, or we could take the classic Jack White photo. And then the one that I took from today, or one of the other 7 that I took from today of him.
Looks the same, doesn't it?
I think he
doesn't
looks
look
different.
that different. You do?
Well, in some ways he looks the same. But I will say, good pal Scotty Shaggs got a great picture of him looking at Kyle Tucker. Did you see that photo?
No.
Of Jack White. Well, it's like a picture of Kyle Tucker, but Jack White is like in the background, and it looks like he's looking straight at Kyle Tucker with just like the biggest grin on his face. He's like, that's my right fielder. Add that to the list of reasons to extend the man. If you're so good at baseball that Jack White has given you a smile, I mean,
there you go.
Anyway,
Cubs lose 6-2. They still take 2 out of 3 against the Rangers. Back at it coming up Friday against the Dodgers on the road. Corey and Brendan tomorrow. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota and Bet365. We'll see you on Sunday. Make sure you subscribe to the new channel. Until then, thanks for watching and fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.